crack of NATO artillery, 250 kilometers from Russia. The broadcaster threatened with beheading.
После начала войны мне звонили на личные номера. Мы отрежем тебе голову, мы знаем, где ты живешь.
The young Latvians being trained to fight.
Of course, we are living next to the very unpredictable neighbor, and the nation as such should be very prepared for all kinds of provocation.
And the civilian soldiers prepared to die. Would you give your life for your country?
Yes, if needed, that's my duty.
We're with the men and women ready to defend Europe's eastern borders. More needed now, they say, than they have been in generations. Welcome to Beyond Borders. On a sandy plain cut from the endless forests that cover half of Latvia, there's a NATO show of strength. NATO's Silver Arrow manoeuvres have been joined to the annual Latvian operation Names. Canadians, Poles, Italians, North Macedonians and others from across Europe are working as one to show that their forces and their ideals fit together. Every bullet, bomb and battlefield weapon should be interchangeable between countries.
Vamos, chavales, que os habéis follado a todo, a todo. You imagine there's an enemy. Woo. Who do you think of?
Russia, for example.
Think of the Russians. Okay.
I think the enemy is definitely watching. I think our adversaries around the world they're watching us. We know that.
What are you saying to anybody in the Kremlin who might be thinking about coming into a neighbouring country such as this, which is a member of NATO?
All I have to say to anybody who's watching, no matter where they are in the world, is that EFP Battle Group Latvia is a cohesive and capable and lethal formation that is ready. Readiness is our top priority, and we're able to face any threats that we're faced with.
Very different situation to Ukraine, though, isn't it? Because Latvia is a member of NATO. Surely it doesn't expect Russia to actually come into this country and cause NATO to retaliate.
We live to unpredictable and aggressive aggressor country, so that's why, of course, we as a alliance, we as a member of the NATO alliance, we should be ready for different kind of scenarios. But yes, we are part of the most successful military alliance in the human history. We feel that there are common position on how we deal with aggressor, that we also support Ukraine. So that's why, of course, being part of the NATO, it makes additional safeguards to protect together.
Empathy. What I want you to do is to have a look in the article and find...
After a dawn run, it's the classroom, and then the parade ground for these military school students. For others in Latvia, national service for men between the ages of 18 and 27 will be compulsory from 2024, voluntary for women. The school head says his aim is to shape their futures as officers. and what he calls loyal citizens.
The threat now is what?
Threat. When we talk about school, for a school there is no threat. There is aim for a school to work and prepare future leaders for national armed forces. But for the state, of course, we are living next to the very unpredictable neighbor, and the nation as such should be very prepared for all kinds of provocations and should be resilient. February 22, the war has started. Yes, at the very beginning, all population was very worried. There was no possibilities to forecast what are going to happen with us and what is going to happen with Latvia.
Do they tell you they're frightened?
The first year, I believe, yes, there was few cadets who was afraid, who was worried actually, and this uncertainty was worrying most of them. But there was this confidence in them because they started to prepare them for all kinds of crises, and they could actually not only calm down themselves but also to help to their families back home, to explain, because they already had some kind of first insight in the military.
I wanted to try something different, something that not every other teenager would try.
Is it out of love for your country because you think your country may be threatened?
Well, of course, yeah, I could try to help in any way I can. So if there's any problem that I could help.
And you might have to go to war.
Well, that's a possibility, so we need to be ready for anything.
You can be prepared for war, but are you frightened of the prospect of war?
Me personally, no, but that depends on who you ask. But I feel prepared that things like that could happen, but you have to be prepared and know what to do. And I think this school kind of helps you with that.
What do you think about what's happening over the border at the moment?
I think it's pretty ridiculous that Russia could do something like that, but it's also not the first example in history that the country does that, so I'm not surprised, but it's a thing that we should try to stop and not keep escalating.
Whilst we could defend ourselves for a few days without NATO, I don't think it would really be plausible. The flag has always been close to my heart. I always seen myself as quite a patriot. And with this school opening right next to my hometown, it just seemed like the perfect opportunity to combine everything that I wanted to achieve and everything that I loved.
A field exercise with no talking allowed is part of the school timetable.
The idea is to be as quiet as possible, make it safe to go across the road. NATO hand signals standard across the entire organisation.
Pārķērē vai no ķīlī?
Jā.
Ne?
Jā.
Tieši tā. Pa divu, kur mēs izmantojam.
What will it teach them? What will they learn about themselves that will be good for Latvia?
Tas ir patriotisms. Tās ir individuālās iemaņas, kā teiksim, kuras var noderēt kaut kādās ekstremālās situācijās dzīves gaitā. Un pilnīgi noteikti, tas, kā arī minēja, fiziskā sagatavotība. Un noteikti tā ir patstāvība turpmākajā dzīvē.
The next demonstration for us is anything but silent. This is a prototype off-road vehicle called the VR Fox that its designer says is ideal for rapid response military emergencies. He happens to be a former Latvian rally champion.
very easy to exit and come back because we don't have side sills and the floor is just 470 mils from ground. And it helps if you are tired, and it's very easy if you artillery working and you need leave vehicle, you can leave very fast.
Can this go anywhere? Whoa! Anywhere?
Yep.
Oh, that's my head. Another one.
That is a big difference between this vehicle and other vehicles, because the performance of this vehicle is really nice. It's usable on tarmac roads, on gravel, and on such forest roads also, and in mud.
Rugged and rutted forest tracks at speeds of up to 110 kilometers an hour. No terrain said to be too much of a challenge. Perhaps hard to believe, but it is neither soul-destroying nor as bad as it looks. The Fox has a hole in the roof for a machine gunner and space for evacuating casualties.
Maybe you see and feel the vehicle is no pitching on brake, no rolling in the corners. It stay flat all the time, and it's give for soldiers comfort, and they don't lose the focus what happened around them.
And you could have a body or a wounded person down here.
Yeah, we can put here stretchers.
Yeah.
Here is a special place.
You can take out those two seats, put more stretchers in. Yeah? The vehicle will only end up in Ukraine if the Latvian government and other countries like what they see for their own forces and then ship them on. For now, this is a private commercial operation. We're then shown a Latvian-made reconnaissance drone that reports have suggested is already being used in Ukraine. Our demonstrator is a former defense minister.
Well, it can lift about the weight what it can lift is about 4.5 kilos, which is payload capacity.
Yeah.
So it is not meant to have some missiles or grenades under this. This is just for reconnaissance.
But the technology that allows this to be built, and I'm speculating here, this is reconnaissance. The technology that allows this to be built, the know-how in there would allow somebody who's clever to adapt it to whatever use they wanted.
We have a very clever engineer since we started this drone factory already in 2009. And this is why I can say that we are a leading country in the Baltics as far as drone production. And of course, our Ministry of Defense is interested not only in the future, not only have a reconnaissance drones, but also to have a drones which can, let's say, execute also their firepower if necessary to defend our country. But again, this is not only a possibility with such type of drones, because the question is about the price.
So I suppose the point is, it can be done, and it can be done by Latvia, in Latvia, for Latvia's purposes.
It can be done, yes. It can be done.
We move on to the story of how a Latvian drone has gone missing near or over the border with Russia.
They still don't know where it disappeared, either on Latvian or on Russian territory.
If it's flying into Russian territory...
No, but it was not flying into Russian territory. It was not meant to fly across the Latvian border. So we are not crossing the border neither officially or non-officially. The thing is that it was flying over the Latvian territory and it lost a contact with operator.
And probably just carried on.
There is such a possibility.
И для нас тоже важна и ваша оценка таких интервью в таком формате.
Weapons in the undeclared conflict between Latvia and Russia also come in other forms. From Riga, these broadcasts in Russian are said to get 15 to 20 million views a month.
Наша миссия сейчас, вот в этих непростых условиях, во время войны, это не создавать истерики, как минимум. Мы хотим максимально умиротворять нашего зрителя, при этом мы хотим информировать его и делать это максимально объективно и стараться оставаться непредвзятыми.
Unbiased in her view, but there is money, she says, being provided by both the British and American governments. Anna's co-presenter Vadim says there are phone and video calls from Ukraine and from Russia, some openly hostile to the Kremlin.
Когда началась война, мы в первые дни получили десятки, даже сотни за неделю звонков из Украины. И нам писали люди, что вы нам очень нужны, потому что нам не так страшно. Мы не знали, мы не закладывали такую миссию в наш канал, но в какой-то момент мы стали для многих людей поддержкой, потому что было непонятно, было страшно, было ужасно, шли бомбардировки.
We know what Putin does to his critics, to those people who say he's wrong. We know what happens to them. Is that a concern?
Мы же выбрали эту профессию, мы понимаем, что такое журналистика. Если говорить о моем опыте, я думаю, что в вашем опыте есть то же самое. Мне угрожали, и было много всяких неприятных вещей, но это часть нашей работы, ты не можешь жить и все время бояться.
Who threatened you?
Угроз было много за время моей карьеры. Я достаточно давно работаю в журналистике, уже более 25 лет. 24 февраля, после начала войны, мне звонили на личные номера, и люди говорили с измененными голосами о том, что мы отрежем тебе голову, мы знаем, где ты живешь, мы вас найдем и так далее и тому подобное. Они звонили именно на личные номера. Были письма, которые мы продолжаем получать от неких анонимных людей о том, что вам конец и так далее и тому подобное. Но ты воспринимаешь это как часть профессии. Да, это есть какие-то вещи, они неприятные, у нас маленькие дети и так далее, но ты понимаешь, что да, это плата за твою работу.
Давай, да.
There are other ways of providing support. As we film at the factory where the Fox off-roader is made, we see armoured vehicle tracks ready to be repaired and sent to Ukraine.
This will go to Zaporizhia district, as I know.
This one?
This one.
Cars and vans too that have been donated or confiscated in Latvia and will be driven 1,000 kilometers south, led by this Ukrainian refugee.
Almost of them go to the military units in Ukraine. Someone go to the volunteers in Ukraine to help also, and they all helps to our army, to our country. The car could leave 1 day, 5 days, and
that's all it would last.
Yes, and after that they show me the cars, the photo of cars they destroyed by the crash attack or something like that.
Do you think it really helps?
Yes, I think it really helps because they need the cars to move, to change their position, to take the bombs, the grenades. Every Friday we have full list of volunteers and they will go to Ukraine. They meeting with our Ukrainian militaries. They help them, speak with them and keep in touch always. So it's some like more than just volunteers, it's like relationship Latvian-Ukrainian.
As the convoy is on its way, these Latvians, usually working in civilian jobs, are playing the enemy. A militia that has to defend ground it has captured, as other members of the same Latvian National Guard try to retake the position. If you are declared dead, you take off your helmet. If anything ever happens, it's not going to be as simple or as straightforward as this. It's going to be extremely messy, but they're preparing the best way they can.
Sorry, here's...
No, I understand.
Yeah. What was the question?
The question is, why do you do this?
Actually, it's not a question for me. It's, this is my country. I must serve to my country.
You prepared to give your life?
I don't know. I love my life, but if needed.
What do you do when you're not here?
In my everyday life, I work as psychologist.
And what do you learn psychologically about people here in the National Guard?
Oh, that we can do much more than we think we can do. We just have to go forward and to believe in our goal, the common goal what we have.
What is that?
Well, I believe in this idea about freedom and that each generation have to do their action to keep freedom as a constant value in their life.
I'm in infantry, but now I'm doing more business with drones. So you're looking to the experience that we see in Ukraine, in the war. We can learn a lot and use this and learn here.
What sort of things are you learning with the drones?
It's like surveillance, reconnaissance. So we are looking what is our opponents doing, what they're planning, what they're moving. We give this information to our command. If you see your enemy first, then you have some kind of advantages. I saw the risks that Russian regime is increasing here in the region, invading in Crimea and Donbass 9 years ago, and I understood that unfortunately the risks are here as well. So despite that we are in NATO, that's good, but we should be ready to prepare ourselves and help as well.
Would you give your life for your country?
Yes, if needed, that's my duty.
Mēs tā piesim, Uzmetāji na limūnu! Jā, visu lentu pa viņam!
There are 10 to 12,000 members of the Latvian National Guard. 2,000 have signed up since the invasion of Ukraine. But full-time forces number only about 7,000. And therefore Latvia has to rely on NATO, which says it's pretty much doubled its forces in the eastern part of the alliance since February 2022, and describes Russia as a significant and direct threat. An attack on one NATO country is considered an attack on all members of the alliance, and in principle has to be countered. And so, while Latvia's people are showing they will do what they can, they have to hope that if it comes to war, they actually do have friends where and when it really counts.
Line on which our bodyguards go and patrol these fences.
As we'll see in our next episode, Latvia is faced with threats on the border, and it says internally. Are you a threat to Latvian?
Угроза. О, какая угроза! Я спокойная была, сейчас ничто.
We'll meet those ethnic Russians who claim they're being unfairly targeted.